皆さんこんにちは、Sherlock です and welcome to another episode of Sherlock Investigates Japan. Today we are going to look at answering an important, overlooked and often misunderstood question. What is a samurai? There are many who have been led to believe that the word samurai means warrior or soldier, a martial artist, or even an assassin. Of course, this is not an accurate description of what it meant to be samurai. The most important part of what it meant to be a samurai can be seen in the way that the kanji of samurai is written. A kanji breaks down into multiple sections or radicals. Each have their own meaning. The kanji for samurai breaks down into two radicals. The first is the radical on the left. On its own, this character means person. These characters are sometimes written differently when written as a radical. The character on the right means temple. When written on its own, the kanji for temple is mostly preceded by the hiragana o. The hiragana character o is often used when giving honor and respect to the following object. Here this creates otara. Originally coming from Chinese pictograms, kanji very often tell a story in the way that they are written. So this means a samurai is a person who serves their master in the same way they would serve a god living at a temple. In fact, the word samurai comes from an even older word, saburao. Saburao means to serve. As you can probably now guess, the service a samurai provided became incredibly important to them. The samurai had 7 virtues that became an important set of rules, guiding the samurai how to properly conduct themselves. These virtues included gi, integrity, rei, respect, yu, courage, mei-o, honor, jin, compassion or benevolence, makoto, honesty or sincerity, and chu, duty and loyalty. Should a samurai fail in any of these virtues during their duties, it was expected that the samurai would commit seppuku. These 7 virtues or rules would become known as bushido, the code or way of the samurai. The code of bushido would be written, developed and adapted throughout the hundreds of years and the many ages of samurai history. Bushido would become ever more important and integral to the samurai and their way of life as time moved on. So let's take a closer look at the meaning of bushido. The word bushido actually breaks down into 3 kanji. The first is bu. Bu translates to martial arts or military arts. This comes from the samurai's past as trained guards and soldiers for Japan's ancient rice kings. The second is shi. Shi means person, but more specifically, shi means a person whom is well respected and honored. It can also be translated as scholar or gentleman. When the first and second characters are combined, this creates a new word, bushi. Bushi does mean warrior. A main duty of a samurai was the protection of their lord and their land. So combat would be an integral part of a samurai's life, but often, particularly in the later centuries of samurai history, this was not their primary role. The final and probably most important part of bushido is within the final character, do. Do can be translated as the way. It is also still in common use today. Shodo, the way of calligraphy, kendo, the way of the sword, and chado, the way of tea, are but a few of the many examples of do still teaching the same lessons and examples as it did for the samurai. However, to the samurai, it would mean so much more. To the samurai, do meant the perfect way. Everything a samurai did was expected to be perfect. Should a samurai fail in their duties, they would be expected to commit seppuku. This was a demonstration of the samurai's loyalty, honor, and dedication to their duties, the code of Bushido, and to their lord. This was most important to the samurai. It would embody their entire life and ethos. The samurai were the only members of Japanese society who were allowed to carry 2 swords. This set was known as daisho. It consisted of the samurai's long sword, the katana, and a shorter sword called wakizashi or shoto. Being ranked as samurai also gave many rights over the commoners, such as the right to kirisute gomen. This would allow a samurai the right to cut down anyone of a lower class who they perceived had offended them. This was done with little to no repercussions as long as the proper rules were followed. Much of the samurai's lifestyle, conduct, and the code of Bushido would be reworded to suit the circumstances and the socio-political environment of the age the samurai were adapting to as they progressed through their 800-year history. The code of Bushido would finally be written and documented officially during the Edo period in the book Hagakure, written by Yamamoto Tsunetomo. It is from this rendition of Bushido that much of the modern interpretation and romanticizing of samurai culture would come from. In fact, many of the modern beliefs and understandings of Bushido would be taken verbatim from Hagakure. However, there are those who argue that because Hagakure was written during the late Edo period, it does not accurately reflect the rules and lifestyles from the majority of samurai history, specifically the years of the Sengoku Jidai, the warring period. During the Sengoku period, Bushido had mostly focused on honor, warfare, mastery of martial arts, weapons, and valor in the battlefield. This is where the belief that samurai were purely warriors had come from. However, the samurai held multiple other jobs as well as fighting for their lord. The samurai have a long and complicated history that oversaw huge military, social, and political changes throughout Japan's history, even to this very day. The understanding and definition of honor and courtesy, as well as the many jobs and roles a samurai would carry out, have vastly changed throughout the ages. However, throughout samurai history, what it truly meant to be a samurai has remained unchanged. A samurai is a person who serves their lord with dedication, loyalty, bravery, and courtesy. Even if the world around them has changed, a samurai's dedication to service was absolute. So there you have it. The samurai was a person who dedicated themselves wholly to the art of their service. As always, thank you very much for watching. I am Sherlock. 皆さん見てくれてありがとうございます。後で会いましょう。